has clapped back at Cathy Engelbert. And this is a great post here from Sophie. So Sophie Cunningham on Instagram. So get ready to take your fine, Sophie. Get ready to take your fine.
The WNBA thought maybe this whole firestorm was dying down, but then Sophie Cunningham just dumped a whole can of gasoline on it. After Cathy Engelbert's wild comments about Caitlyn Clark, Sophie absolutely lit her up in public. And then Lexi Hull jumped in, completely backing Napheesa Collier's bombshell statements. Now, the commissioner is in deeper trouble than ever. So, what do you think? Has Engelbert completely lost control of this league?
People only know Cathy because of Caitlyn. She's the most delusional leader our league has ever seen. And it shouldn't even be about our commissioner in the first place. He's not wrong about that. It is very clear that Cathy Engelbert is pissed off that she's not the face of the league.
Well, here we are again, right? Another day, another massive controversy in the WNBA. And surprise, surprise, it all circles back to the one person who somehow manages to make everything worse every single week. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. Honestly, at this point, she might as well just hand every player a fine sheet the second they walk into practice. Because clearly, speaking your mind is the new biggest crime in women's basketball. Let's just break down what's happening here.
Thank you all for your time today. I have prepared a statement that I would like to make before taking any questions. All right. So first of all, I'd like to congratulate the Mercury for advancing to the finals. And I want to be clear, this conversation is not about winning or losing. It's about something much bigger. The real threat to our league isn't money. It isn't ratings or even missed calls or even physical play. It's the lack of accountability from the league office. Since I've been in the league, you've heard the constant concerns about officiating, and it has now reached levels of inconsistency that plague our sport and undermine the integrity in which it operates.
Napheesa Collier actually started this whole snowball with a press conference that wasn't just an exit interview, it was like a full-scale carpet bombing. She straight up called Engelbert tone deaf. She accused the league of completely ignoring all the officiating disasters. And she flat out said that WNBA leadership doesn't value the players. She also said they don't care about the product, and they've let the officiating just spiral into a total joke.
Whether the league cares about the health of the players is one thing, but to also not care about the product we put on the floor is truly self-sabotage. Year after year, the only thing that remains consistent is the lack of accountability from our leaders. Sorry, I had to walk here in my boot. I'm kind of out of breath. The league has a buzzword that they've rolled out as talking points for the CBA as to why they can't pay the players what we're worth. That word is sustainability. But what's truly unsustainable is keeping a good product on the floor while allowing officials to lose control of games. Fans see it every night. Coaches, both winning and losing, point it out every night in pregame and postgame media. Yet leadership just issues fines and looks the other way.
And Collier didn't even stop there. She actually spilled some private conversations she had with Engelbert that made everyone's jaw hit the floor. When Collier tried to bring up officiating concerns, Engelbert allegedly just brushed her off, supposedly saying only losers complain about refs. Can you even imagine being the commissioner and basically telling your own athletes they're whiny losers? That's just brilliant leadership, Cathy. That's like a boss telling employees, "Oh, you don't like the broken air conditioning. You must be lazy complainers."
At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Cathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlyn, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlyn should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And in that same conversation, she told me players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them. That's a mentality driving our league from the top. We go to battle every day to protect a shield that doesn't value us. The league believes it succeeds despite its players, not because of them.
And get this, it somehow got even worse. Collier also claimed that Engelbert dismissed the massive revenue Caitlyn Clark brings in. She said Clark should be grateful the WNBA even gave her a platform, because without it, she wouldn't be making any money from sponsorships, Clark was already pulling in huge NIL deals at Iowa, selling out arenas, and single-handedly making women's basketball a primetime event way before Engelbert ever entered the picture. To act like Caitlyn owes her success to the WNBA is just laughable. Honestly, it's totally the other way around. The WNBA owes all its recent relevance to Clark.
Why these players are getting screwed in the CBA, by the way. She gave up 18 extra percent in that. She sold 18% of the league. She sold 18% of the league to private investors. Yes, the league might have needed that 18% initially, but if she had not made that deal 2 years ago, 2 years before the Caitlyn Clark boom, like, this is how bad it's gotten. Troy Dan is tweeting about it. If you guys know how crazy this is. Troy Dan is tweeting about it. Like, you know this is bad. This is bad when Troy Dan is tweeting about it. Like, I'm not, like, this is bad. And Sophie's on the money.
But here's where things went from bad to totally catastrophic. Players across the league started reacting, and when Sophie Cunningham enters the chat, you just know it's about to get spicy. Sophie has never been shy. She's fiery on the court, fiery in interviews, and she does not bite her tongue. After Engelbert's Clark should be grateful line hit the internet, Sophie completely torched her on social media, saying Engelbert is the most delusional leader our league has ever seen, and that she should never be commissioner in the first place. Boom, mic drop. Now Sophie isn't some rookie trying to get tension. She's been around, she's built her brand, and she's been a part of the league's growth. When she goes public like that, it's a huge signal that this frustration isn't just with fans on Twitter. It's truly boiling inside locker rooms too. And Sophie didn't hedge her words or throw in the usual PR fluff. She called Engelbert delusional, straight up, and that's as raw as it gets. And before Engelbert could even craft her next corporate word salad response, Lexi Hull jumped in too. Now Lexi is usually known more for her defense and hustle than her quotes. But even she couldn't hold back. Hull publicly backed Collier, saying she agreed with everything Collier said, and was proud of her for speaking up. Think about that. Two players from different teams, both putting their names on direct criticism of the commissioner. That simply doesn't happen unless people are truly fed up. This is no longer just a one-off rant. It's turning into a full-blown movement. What's even more damning is the pattern we're seeing. Cheryl Reeve called out refs and got suspended. Becky Hammond agreed with her and got fined. Stephanie White hinted at inconsistency and got fined too. Now Collier lays it all out. Sophie goes nuclear, and Lexi adds backup. That's not a coincidence. That's a league-wide revolt bubbling just under the surface. And let's be clear, this all connects back to Caitlyn Clark. Whether Engelbert likes it or not, Clark's games bring in the biggest TV numbers, the highest attendance, and the most buzz online. Yet she's been targeted on the court all year, battered by physical play that often looks more like cheap shots, and the league has done absolutely nothing. No accountability, no adjustment, just fines for anyone who dares speak about it. Engelbert's biggest mistake is clearly underestimating how obvious this all looks to everyone. Fans aren't dumb. They see Clark getting shoved to the floor without calls. They see referees letting opponents rough her up like it's football. They see coaches who try to defend her slapped with fine. And now they see Engelbert telling players to be grateful and calling critics losers. That is a complete PR nightmare that you simply can't spin away with bland press releases. And here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just about refereeing or Clark anymore. It's fundamentally about leadership. Collier called it plainly. The league office is more concerned with control than with true collaboration. Engelbert runs the WNBA like a cold CEO, not a commissioner who genuinely understands athletes. She brags about media deals and corporate growth, but completely ignores the human side of the league. Players get injured? Silence. Fans complain about physicality? Shrug. Coaches ask for consistency? Fine them. That's Engelbert's model. Now remember, Collier is a co-founder of Unrivaled, that new women's league set to launch. Critics will say she has an agenda. Sure she does, but that doesn't automatically make her wrong. Sometimes it takes someone with less to lose to say what everyone else is thinking. Sophie backing her up only adds even more credibility, because Sophie doesn't have a stake in Unrivaled. Neither does Lexi. They just want a league that values players instead of constantly silencing them. Let's not forget the timing either. The WNBA is heading toward a new CBA negotiation, and tensions are already incredibly high. Players want charter flights, better salaries, and safer working conditions. Engelbert keeps waving the sustainability buzzword around like it's some magic shield against any criticism. Meanwhile, the league is bragging about billion-dollar media deals. You simply cannot cry poor while cashing billion-dollar checks. That huge disconnect is absolutely fueling this revolt. And to make matters worse, Engelbert has somehow managed to turn herself into the entire story. A good commissioner should be invisible, working behind the scenes, letting the players and coaches shine. But Engelbert just keeps making herself the headline, whether it's with tone-deaf comments, weak leadership, or outright arrogant. Now, instead of everyone talking about playoff basketball, everyone's talking about her. Now that we've broken down these bombshells from Collier, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexi Hull, let's zoom in on what this actually means for the WNBA going forward. Because this isn't just drama anymore. It's an earthquake shaking the league's very foundation. Let's start with Sophie again. The way she torched Engelbert wasn't just a side comment. It was calculated frustration just boiling over. Sophie said, in plain words, Cathy is the most delusional leader the league has ever had, and should never be commissioner in the first place. That's not a player lightly criticizing leadership. That is a player saying the league's top boss has no business being in charge. You can't just walk that back. And here's the kicker. Fans rallied behind her instantly. Social media lit up with support for Sophie, with people even joking about starting GoFundMe pages to cover her fine when the league inevitably comes after her. That tells you everything you need to know. When the fans are already preparing to cover fines for players just for speaking the truth, the league has completely lost the trust of its own customer base. Then we've got Lexi Hull. She's not usually a headline grabber, but her backing of Collier was absolutely huge. She said she agreed with everything Collier said, and was proud of her for speaking up. That's so powerful. Why? Because it shows that even quieter players are totally fed up. When someone like Lexi feels compelled to go public, it means this frustration is universal, not just isolated to a few outspoken stars. This leads us back to the big question: how much longer can Engelbert survive? You've got players, coaches, and fans all uniting in criticism. You've got the media hammering her daily. You've got rival leagues like Unrivaled waiting in the wings, smelling blood. And most importantly, you've got the NBA, which ultimately oversees the WNBA, watching its investment get dragged through the mud. Adam Silver can only look the other way for so long. The NBA poured billions into media deals that totally hinge on stars like Caitlyn Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Bueckers drawing eyeballs. But if Clark keeps getting hammered with no protection, if Angel gets thrown around for drama, and if players like Napheesa are sidelined with injuries while the commissioner shrugs, then those deals lose value. And trust me, money talks. Billion-dollar contracts don't stay safe when ratings plummet. Now let's circle back to Caitlyn Clark. She's not a rookie anymore. She's in year 2, carrying the weight of the league's marketing, attendance, and TV ratings on her shoulders. And yet, instead of celebrating her, Engelbert essentially dismissed her by saying she should be grateful for the WNBA platform. Excuse me? Clark brought her own platform. She was packing arenas in Iowa before she ever wore a Fever jersey. She already had corporate sponsorships lining up. She had millions tuning in just to watch her play college ball. For Engelbert to claim the league made Clark is not just wrong, it's completely insulting. And that's why Sophie's words hit so hard, because fans know it's true. Without Clark, the WNBA's media deal doesn't look half as shiny. Without Clark, attendance numbers don't spike. Without Clark, the conversation isn't even this loud. And instead of protecting her, instead of making sure she thrives, Engelbert and the league allowed her to become a punching bag for opponents all season. This is where Napheesa's comments really sting. She said the league doesn't care about player health, doesn't care about officiating consistency, and doesn't even care about the product on the floor. That's a damning indictment. She basically accused leadership of sabotaging their own league. And honestly, she might be right. When players are sidelined with injuries, when stars are fined for speaking out, when fans see thuggery instead of basketball, what's left to sell? And let's not forget, Collier also exposed Engelbert's arrogance, allegedly saying players should thank their lucky stars for her media rights deal. As if it wasn't Adam Silver who pushed networks into including the WNBA. As if it wasn't Clark's arrival that forced advertisers to pay attention. Engelbert taking credit for that is like someone showing up at halftime of a game, watching their team already leading by 30, and then claiming they carried the squad to victory. Please. The problem is simple. Engelbert is just out of touch. She's a corporate executive playing commission. She's good at spreadsheets, not people. And in a league that desperately needs connection between players, fans, and leadership, she's absolutely the wrong fit. Collier said it best. There's no accountability from the top. None. Players are fined, coaches are suspended, but referees are never held accountable. Leadership never takes blame. And fans absolutely see it. Now here's where things get really bad for Engelbert. This revolt is no longer just whispers behind closed doors. It's totally public. Players are going viral blasting her. Coaches are calling out inconsistency. Fans are openly mocking her. Even media outlets are running headlines, questioning how long she can last. And every time she responds with another bland PR statement, she just digs the hole deeper. So what happens next? Let's speculate. If the NBA starts to feel the WNBA is becoming a liability instead of an asset, Engelbert could be forced out quietly after the next CBA negotiation. They'll let her take a victory lap for securing media deals, then subtly nudge her out the door. Or if things get worse, it could be much sooner. Because here's the reality. You can't have your commissioner openly mocked by your own players on a weekly basis. It completely undermines the league's credibility. And let's talk about the damage already done. Fans who tuned in for Clark are already walking away. Social media is full of posts saying, "I'm done watching until the league protects her." Ratings are slipping. Attendance outside Fever games is flat. And instead of addressing it, Engelbert acts like it's all fine. Well, it's not. And players like Sophie and Lexi calling her out prove it. This isn't about one bad call. It's about a culture of negligence. Refereeing disasters are brushed aside. Player health is ignored. Coaches are punished for speaking truth. And when stars finally snap, Engelbert's response is to call them losers, or tell them to be grateful. That's not leadership. That's pure arrogance. Let's be blunt. The WNBA has the best women's basketball talent in the world, but probably the worst leadership in pro sport. That's what Napheesa said. And that's exactly what Sophie and Lexi are backing up. And honestly, they're right. This league should be absolutely exploding right now. With Clark, Reese, Buckers, Boston, Collier, Wilson, and so many more, this should be a golden era. Instead, it's chaos. Now think about the optics. You've got your commissioner downplaying the biggest star since Diana Taurasi. You've got veterans blasting her as delusional. You've got fans openly rooting for her firing. And you've got rival leagues like Unrivaled sitting back, grinning, just waiting to scoop up talent. If things completely implode, this is a powder keg, and Engelbert is absolutely holding the match. So here we are. Sophie Cunningham just called Cathy Engelbert the most delusional commissioner ever. Lexi Hull is backing Napheesa, and fans are piling on. The WNBA is in full meltdown mode, and leadership looks completely clueless. What do you all think? Has Engelbert finally lost the locker room for good? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.